Welcome back to the Total Focus Podcast, episode number 15. I'm your host, Paul. Our guest this week is Hillary May, the newly crowned Ms. Delaware 2019. What an incredible person. You are going to be blown away. You better stay tuned. And welcome to the show.
Great to be here.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on the show, and congratulations on winning your first title and to have your biggest title being Miss Delaware America. Congratulations. That's a great first title to have.
Yeah, it's been a pretty incredible and honestly very lucky journey, and it's been great every day.
Well, your director was definitely talking you up, saying how she was really excited to have you as title holder, and that she was really praising that was really excited to have this interview because that she just thought that we're gonna have so much stuff to talk about. So I'm really excited to really get in depth about this conversation and really learn more about you and Delaware and this upcoming year.
Yeah.
So why don't we start from the beginning? I know that we spoke briefly earlier today, and we were talking about you didn't really do pageants in the beginning, but you were into athletics, so you did dance. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did dance starting when I was 3 at a studio, but I only did the traditional, I guess you would call them, styles, so like tap and jazz and ballet from the time I was 3 until I was about 10. And then I decided that with everything else going on in school, and I wanted to do theater because that's when I was getting into like junior high and doing junior high musicals. I wanted to kind of take a step back. And so I only did hip hop classes at a studio. I did theater all through junior high, which was sounds weird to say like junior high was some of the best time of my life, but the theater productions and the theater department at my junior high were incredible. And they really, really set me up for success later. I can attribute a lot of my onstage presence, honestly, to my sixth grade musical, which sounds kind of crazy, but it's true. And so then that got me on my high school dance team, which mostly focused on hip hop and jazz performances because those are really fun to watch at basketball games. So that's what I did all through high school.
Of course. Hey, no, I totally disagree with you on that. Like middle school is really important because if you don't have those skills set up in middle school, then you wouldn't have never been able to perform at that high level at high school. So
Mm-hmm.
those middle years,
Exactly.
are really important, and those are just stepping stones for the next thing. Just like right now, you're currently Miss Delaware, but you're gonna eventually be Miss America. So, it's a stepping stone. And no disrespect to any state title, but the eventual goal is to become the national title holder. So, uh,
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, privilege of going to your pageant, and I apologize. But was your
No.
talent dance that you performed at? What?
So I actually am a singer. I've
Oh, you did
sang
singing. Okay.
yeah. So I sing. I've sang since geez, I can't even remember. My mom used to use my sister and I as a party trick and have us come out and sing Elvis songs to her friends whenever they would come over for dinner or whatever. So I've been singing for as long as I think I can talk. I was probably singing.
So in all, so
But then
on,
I
So, in all sincerity, you're really a triple threat because, no, it's just you. If in all sincerity, if you can act in high school, those are skills like a bike. They're refined as you get older. So, if you
Mhm.
can act as a high school, and if you can dance, and if you can sing, that's a triple threat. So clearly, they definitely picked a good girl to compete at the national level. But, um, was there a reason why that was just because you've been singing for so long? Because I mean, you have the amazing dancing photos on your portfolio. You could have had me for a loop to say that dancing wasn't your top priority because on your Facebook it looks like dancing is your major skill. Is dancing really number two compared to singing? Is that how good you are a singer?
Well, I don't know if I would say that I'm crazy good at either. That's kind of one of the things that comes with doing multiple things is not any one thing gets super highlighted. But honestly, it was really I chose to sing because there's so many different styles that you can do in singing that I enjoy doing, whereas I'm mainly a hip hop dancer, which is great and I love it and it's fantastic. But one of the things that makes hip hop so cool is the synchronization of a group. So being the only person on stage, like, yes, I can go out there for 90 seconds and, balance on my face and do whatever else, but it's not going to be as impressive if I had a whole team up there. Whereas doing something like a contemporary jazz or a lyrical, which is just not where I'm strong technique wise, that's something that's super, super cool to watch as a solo. Whereas hip hop's not really a solo style. So going to singing is something that I was still incredibly passionate about, have still been trained for a long time. It's something that I can do and still perform using my like theater background and that whole side of things as well. I just think it was a better presentation of me and my skills and whatever else. I just thought that that's how I was going to present my best self is singing.
Well, and clearly you made the right decision because you have the title. So kudos to you. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you made the right decision. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so what if you've never done a pageant and you were really on the athletic performance side, what gave you the aha moment to want to compete?
Yeah, well, so I did county pageants, which is a quite different experience for 4-H, which I'm pretty sure 4-H exists around here. It's very, agriculturally oriented. I come from Indiana, so in the heart of the Midwest originally. So 4-H is huge, where agriculture is huge. But so I had done that when I did one when I was 12, and so I was the Duchess, and then I did one when I was 17, so I was the county fair queen for a year.
But
So it
that's
wasn't my
nothing.
first.
But that's nothing. That's nothing to be like like that's not too shy. I mean, those are good things. You still are competing with people. It just
Yeah,
it's just on a
yeah, but I
smaller
mean,
level. It's just on a smaller
yeah.
level.
If I'm being entirely honest, it's because I'm a stage hog. I just any opportunity that I can get to be on stage in front of people, not even necessarily on a physical stage, but just be in front of people to talk to them or to perform for them is definitely an opportunity that I'm going to take no matter when or where or what I have to do. I just absolutely love being in front of people and performing for people and entertaining people. Um, so that's really what got me in the first place. But what got me into the America system was so my roommate here in Delaware actually has done pageants for her entire life, and so we would watch videos of her when she was little, and it was just so cool. And her mom really took me in, and we were very conveniently the same size. So she was like, "No, I know Shauna, who is my local director. I know Shauna so well. She's super nice. She's great. She would be such an awesome director if you were to win. Like, you should do her pageant in January. It would be so much fun. You could be on stage again. You don't have to do anything. You can wear all the dresses that I have. We will do everything. You just need to go on stage and you just need to go have fun." And I was like, that sounds like a pretty good bet for me. I get to be on stage. I don't have to go out and do all these other things. Like, it'll just be a fun experience. In absolutely no way, and I say this completely honestly, in no way did I expect to win that local, especially my first local ever in the Miss America system, for goodness sake. Like, I was not expecting it at all. I just wanted to go out there and perform and have fun. But I found out later through talking to people is like that's the whole point that everyone does when they compete in pageants and especially in the America system is you just want to go out there and have a good time and be yourself. And that's what the judges saw, and they liked it, I guess, enough to crown me Miss Hockessin. And that was my same mentality going into Miss Delaware is that I've met so many fun people, and I just want to be on stage. I just want to have a good time. I just want to be myself, and it seems like it continues to be a good game plan.
Well, I have to say when you said specifically that my girlfriend told me I could just wear all of her stuff and I just had to show up, I had to be like, oh my god, like I have so many girlfriends that would die to have that relationship. Your girlfriend must
Yeah.
be like, please tell me that you have a special seat for her at nationals because
Oh yeah.
clearly she's clearly she's earned it. If she's not beat if she's not if she's not you're second in line, then she's the
Yeah,
right.
I know.
Right.
Autumn is the best roommate that I have ever had. She's fantastic. She still does pageants. She competes in the Miss USA system. So I definitely am always there to support her at hers, and she's been at every single one of mine to support me too. It's been a great journey, especially being able to have her system and my system where we both thrive equally. It's been great.
Well, we just have to get her on board and win Delaware USA, and then you guys can be you
Yeah.
can be a double threat
Wouldn't
there.
wouldn't that be funny to say that the two Miss Delaware live
Literally
together?
lived in the same household, and that would be something that would be unheard of to even utter years ago. But today,
Uh-huh.
with the way the climate is, that the two organizations are definitely more friendly together. That would be
Yeah.
so cute to have both girls living together. So, well,
Yeah, it's
I'm rooting for your friend. So please tell your friend, get on
yeah,
board,
me
get
too.
on board with it right now. Your time is a
Yeah.
ticking. So clearly they loved your attitude that you are going in there just to have fun. How did you, because the interview is so important, how did you prepare for that interview? Because if you've won the a county fair, do they do interviews in county fairs?
Yeah, so our county fair interview, it was a little bit different. It was a round robin experience. So the way that the Miss America organization does it is it's a panel. So you have all seven judges and you stand up at a podium. Whereas in my Posey County interviews, it was the round robin. So you would be with one judge one on one for I think like 2 or 3 minutes, and then you would jump to the next table and speak with the second judge, and then the next table and speak with the last judge.
So either way, did you find that to be a better way to engage with the judges and really get your point across, or would you rather do one-on-ones?
I like both of them for different reasons. I see a lot of benefits in both. The panel that I do for the Miss America organization, I really love, especially because of where you're going in the organization. Because when you're Miss Delaware or you're Miss America, that's the kind of interview that you're going to have. It's like more of a press style interview. So I really appreciate that because that's going to prepare you for the job that you are interviewing for. Whereas with the round robin style, it really allows you to get to know, to have a conversation, I guess I'll say, with that judge on a more personal level. So whereas maybe on a panel interview where a couple of them are theater people, they might ask a question about that, but there's seven judges that all want to have their time to ask you whatever it is they want to ask you. But in the round robin style, then you get to talk with that judge who was also in the same show that you were in, and you can make more of a personal connection with them. So I see positives to both. I think I prefer the panel, the more press style, just because that's my personality. Is I like the more intellectual, fired at you sort of question. That's exciting, and I really enjoy that. But getting to know judges, especially judges that have put a lot of time and effort into preparing for judging the pageant, getting to know them on a more personal level is a great experience as well.
I just wanted to take 1 second from this great interview and talk about our sponsor of the week, Mid Atlantic Video and Photography Productions. No matter if you're planning a wedding, a special event, or you just need an amazing headshot, they are the team to get the job done. You can reach out to them at 443 422 3830. Again, that's 443 422 3830. Or you can go right to their website at mavpp.com. Now let's get right back to the show and listen to this great interview. And it clearly, the way you speak so elegantly, giving you a little bit more time to speak is always, to me, it sounds like it probably in your beneficial than to rush you off the podium or
Yeah.
yeah. So as a young child, you're doing the triple threat. You're singing. You're doing performances. Um, are you doing anything? Are you doing anything else? You're doing the local fair. Are you doing anything else? Or well, I guess what are
Yeah.
you pursuing as your higher education category? If you're doing all these,
Yeah. I my junior high and high school, I was always the person who knew exactly what they wanted to do with their life. And then the next year, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life, and it had absolutely nothing to do with what I said it was the year before. So I think in seventh grade, I was like determined I was going to be a lawyer, and then in eighth grade, I was determined I was going to be a police officer or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So that whole thing has changed more times than I can even count or remember. Even in college, I think I changed my major 4 times. But I eventually landed on what I love, which is I have my degree, my undergraduate degree in psychology with minors in philosophy, chemistry, and neuroscience. And that brought me naturally, of course, into where I am now, which is getting my PhD in education. But it's education and learning sciences. And what learning sciences is just how the brain works, like what happens cognitively whenever you learn. So I focus specifically on young kids, typically 3 to 5 years old, like the preschool, kindergarten age. But people in my field study, individuals all the way up through adulthood, other people getting their PhDs. It's all just about the cognitive goings on in terms of learning. And that's where I really found my passion. And that's where I've stayed educationally, is in that field. A lot of what I do, I'm a graduate student at the University of Delaware here. And a lot of what I do in that lab is focusing on low income individuals, low income kids. And so trying to figure out various ways that we can teach kids, how we can get them to learn in more unconventional ways that they may or may not have access to being a low income family. So I focus a lot on learning through play, because being able to sit down and play with your child for a little while is a lot cheaper, more than anything else, than having to go to an expensive daycare or have tutoring lessons or whatever that we're doing nowadays with our 3-year-olds, because that's just the way our society is working, is we're pushing school at younger and younger ages. So to try and figure out what we can do to try and keep these kids on the same level regardless of the income status of their family is really where my heart lies, in terms of what I want to do with what I'm learning and what I'm growing as through my education right now.
So, in that field that you're pursuing, is this more? Would you want to stay and do university instruction, well as university um, studies for the rest of your life, or do you see this as something that you want to go independent and go to the private sector?
Yeah, so
Essentially,
a lot of, I mean, the vast majority of individuals who get their PhD tend to stick in academia, especially in the field of education. Um, but what I would love to do is take these skills that I am learning here, and the knowledge that I've gained on how to do research and things like that, and take it to the private sector, but specifically to companies, organizations, mostly networks, really, like PBS or Nickelodeon preschool, things like that, Universal Kids, to help them make their educational programming as beneficial as possible. Because one thing, especially for a network like PBS, being a public broadcast network, is that's what a lot of low income kids are seeing. And so if we can make that beneficial and try and up our game on that front, then I think that'll be a really good way to get to those low income kids and make a difference in their lives.
and can I assume that's your platform?
It is actually not, believe it or not.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, maybe
so
that's
my
so.
platform,
So maybe that's platform number two, because you can always have side
yeah,
platforms. So
yeah. I mean, that's something I'm passionate about, and that's something that I do a lot of work with in my, I guess, field of work and education. Like that's my career, if you will. But everybody has that, side passion, I guess. But for
mhm.
me, it's really something that's been
No, because
my whole life.
you talk so elegantly about it, and you're absolutely right, because there are standards that PBS has to stand by because they are
Mm-hmm.
publicly funded, and
Yeah.
they have to be able to prove that they are making a stride, especially with the demographic that it is challenged by economically diverse as well as family diverse problems. So those
Mm-hmm.
areas that you talk about where they can, if you can come in and really increase viewership as well as performance and make the show more engaging as well as more um, helpful to actually learn, then you're doing everything that PBS stands for, and that it
Mhm.
was laid out there when they invented Sesame Street. So I mean, that's
Yeah,
exactly the whole concept.
absolutely. Mhm. Yeah. And I mean that's the end goal. So we'll see what happens here in a few years once I get that degree because we're still in the process of getting it. But
Well,
yeah, that's definitely the ideal outcome.
would you ever want to just do your own thing? Excuse me, hold on a second. Good thing we're taping, so we can always cut this out.
Yeah.
So, okay, one, two. So, would you ever want to do your own thing and just produce your own content, and then have a writer and then you oversee that, or that's not really how you see yourself going down that road?
I've thought about it, but I really think, especially towards the beginning, because I just don't think I know enough about the industry to be able to do that kind of thing on my own. You never know in the future. I definitely would want to get in and be part of an already established sort of, I guess, network, organization, whatever you want to call it at
Yeah,
the
of course.
beginning. And then, who knows? Maybe I would find this, that, and the other thing that I think would be better if it was done differently, and I'll go off on my own. But I think definitely at the beginning, I want to get into something that's pre-established. I have thought about starting my own nonprofit for my platform, so a totally separate,
Oh,
totally separate idea. But
uh,
that is something that I have thought about a lot, starting my own thing on that front.
no, you just
Which
you just come off so. I it's clear why they picked you, because you just come off just
well,
no,
thank you.
I'm only talking to you for 24 minutes, and I can tell you come off as like super intelligent, really well spoken. You know, so like your future is bright no matter what happens. No matter seriously,
Well,
like
thank you. I
no, no,
appreciate you
no,
saying
no, no,
that.
sir. Because like I'm getting your director was absolutely right. I mean, your director is like, I'm gonna have a fabulous interview, and she was absolutely right. So no matter what you want to do, I definitely think you're going to be able, if you want to, you're going to be able to positively impact children's lives, especially like
Mhm.
you said, low income children. So I mean, and that's one area that just doesn't get enough support. So we
Mhm.
really, we do appreciate you putting so much effort in that, because sometimes that doesn't get noticed at all. So,
Mhm.
well, you keep on mentioning, and I don't let you talk about. So why don't you talk about your platform? Because you said you wanted to, you considered starting a non for profit. So what is more important than even what you work on every day? So
Yeah. And I think a lot of times what girls like myself and the Miss America organization do when we're choosing a platform is you choose something that has affected your life a lot. And I'm incredibly passionate about, as you can probably tell from my ramblings on up to this point, about low income children. But
I think
that's
it
been
was more
something that
concise than rambling, but
that's been something that I've grown into with all the knowledge I've gained throughout my life experiences, even though it's not something that I had to experience firsthand because I was lucky enough that I did not have to grow up in a low income household. So my platform is something which is really a very personal connection, which is mental health. So my platform is specifically focusing on mental health awareness and suicide awareness for everyone, but especially for young people, because there's in my opinion, an extreme lack of education for young people, and I would almost venture to say a glamorization almost of mental health issues with different TV shows or just things that you see.
you're
I
absolutely
know
right. I mean, they just made
in
that television show on Netflix
mhm.
where the girl, they started by she killing herself, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it's very
and 13
it's very
reasons.
question it's weird to like how that's. I understand that it's a story, but it's just a weird way of telling a story that she kills herself. It's just so.
Yeah. So 13 Reasons Why, which is the Netflix show that you're referring to, I've had a lot of people come and talk to me about it because obviously they know that I'm very present in the community, I guess I'll call it, of
Hmm.
mental health advocates. And I have very mixed feelings about it because, on the one hand, I completely understand where everyone's coming from in terms of glamorizing mental health. And I think for young people, that's exactly what it's doing. But on the other hand, I so appreciate the fact that at least we're talking about it. At least it got the conversation started. At least we're saying something about mental health. And if that gets parents to talk to their kids about how suicide is not the option to go towards whenever you're in pain, that there are other routes to feeling better, that there's treatment, if that's what gets your parents talking to kids about this, then that's at least that much a step in the right direction, in my opinion. I think it's unfortunate that we had to have something like that, a TV show as shocking as that got us to move in this direction. But if we're moving in this direction, then that's some sort of a win.
It's sad, but if you think about it, a lot of times something really traumatic has to
Yeah.
happen for
Mhm.
um, action to happen. They were talking about yesterday being the 50th anniversary of a famous gay and lesbian bar being attacked and
Mhm.
riots occurring because of it, and positive change um, became. It's a very weird societal reaction that negative has to occur to have a positive reaction. But I guess that's
Mhm.
kind of a life thing. We learn by failure. Um, you have to fall several times to learn how to walk, and you have to continue to fall to learn how to walk.
Mhm.
And so it's a shame that you have to go through that, but especially when so many people are just so hurt there, and they need some support.
Yeah, exactly.
You
That's kind of what I do in the community, is trying to provide different, I guess I'll just use the blanket word of providing education, but basically making sure that individuals in general, but especially young people, understand and know the resources that are at their disposal if they're going through something like a anxiety or depression or whatever it may be, but also the resources that are available to people who want to be the ones there to help, because a lot of times we have friends and family that realize that we're struggling, but they don't know how to act because they're not trained professionals. And there are resources out there to help those people figure out and learn how to navigate being the support system that we don't even think to look for.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right there. I mean, and I honestly think that the two things that you're so passionate about, education and mental health, go hand in hand, because usually people have really bad mental health when they have a bad family environment or bad education. So um, there's a lot of correlation with those two being. So there's got to they have to have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
synchronization back and forth. So I see why you're so passionate. It's basically the underlining thing is that they need more support, need more help,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you know, I need a helping hand, telling
Yeah.
them they feel good, we love you, you can do this, you can achieve it. So
Yeah.
you want to eventually, it sounds like your real goal for this specific portion is that you want to start not for profit. What do you think that you could achieve by having a not for
Yeah.
profit that could really
So
change things?
I think that the not for profit that I ideally would want to start is a great intersection between my two passions, which is providing mental health support and resources. And well, let me back up for just a second. So one of the things that I do in the community here in Delaware is I work with a fabulous organization, I can't stress that enough, in Hockessin, Delaware, which is called Supporting Kids. And it's the only center in the entire state of Delaware which is a grief center focused for kids between the ages of 5 and 16. And so I work with them. I'm a trained facilitator, so I facilitate group therapy sessions for these kids. And I've learned a lot. I've been trained through all of that. And so what I want to do is take the skills I've learned from that And I also want to get some more training specifically on trauma. So kids who have dealt with trauma and violence and things like that, and how to help them through that situation. And so what I want to do with the not-for-profit is I want to create an organization which goes into the heart of urban communities, most likely low income communities, communities that have been affected, like Wilmington per se, by a lot of violence and a lot of traumatic experiences, a lot of loss, and as a result, a lot of mental health issues. And so what I want to do is go into those communities and have, I guess I'll call them like pop-up shops, because a lot of times the individuals who need the help, who need the therapy, the group, the support, are people who can't necessarily travel all the way to Hockessin, Delaware to get that support. So to go to them, to go into schools, to talk to kids, to teach them and let them know the resources that are available to them, to teach them different skills and techniques to better handle their trauma and their grief and get through it in a healthy way and come out the other side is really what I want to do, and what I think a lot of cities in general, a lot of people in general would benefit from a program like that. Supporting Kids does something incredibly similar in Wilmington, so to even branch out to other communities would be fantastic, and I think really helpful.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, we have the same similar problems across the entire country. But
Oh,
I
absolutely.
and specifically where I live in Baltimore, in the state of Maryland, our big issue is the city of Baltimore, and the two issues that they always address that they've been trying to is what they call food deserts and coping, where like you're saying, you don't
Mm-hmm.
the doctor for maybe medical, maybe a dentist, and if you could have a small little bus that's really homey, and you could literally just drive up to the street and literally do street by street therapy. Like, I'm gonna be on this street on Tuesday. I want you to please come. Just walk out your door. I mean, and if you could build like a cool bus, and have something like that, I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, you will definitely affect change.
Yeah.
The
And I think the biggest obstacle that I foresee overcoming is something that I I I guess I'll say fell victim to in the first place, was that when I say, "Hey, I'm a like a grief facilitator for young kids," everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, that's so sad." Because all of the kids that I work with have either lost a sibling or a parent, and it just seems like such a saddening situation. But when you walk in there on the first day, it is such a positive and happy environment, for no other reason than they are finally around other kids who have dealt with the same thing that they are dealing with, and they're not the odd one out, because you see so often that when they go to school or whatever the situation may be, that they're the kid whose dad died, or they're the kid whose brother died, and they're in a place now where they can talk about that openly with other people who understand, because they've been in the same situation. And so I think that that's going to be the biggest hurdle, is getting people to come in the first place, because I think that initially they'll think that it's going to be, all the stereotypes of therapy. Like, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to talk about my feelings. I'm going to sit on a couch and it's going to be like all sad. But it's not. It's all about learning skills so that you can live your life in a happy and healthy way, and get through whatever it is, the experiences that you've been through.
I mean, it's amazing that we have these services for so many other demographics. I have a colleague who sadly is a Gold Star wife, and
Mm-hmm.
they have these services set up for the military. But these services that you're talking about is the same things that we offer for our military. And if you guys don't, if our listeners don't know what a Gold Star family member is someone who lost someone in active duty, and they're left alone. So this is exactly what you're talking about. And then they have Gold Star parties where only the kids play with Gold Star families, and those are things that are so important. And if you can provide that service to people that are in the general public, that it helps the military, but it's going to help people that are dealing with gun violence or dealing with just family loss. I mean, we people die every
Mm,
single day, and they have kids that so it doesn't matter that if it wasn't on the army, if it was on the army field, or if it was literally in your neighborhood, you still have that grief. And for if you can offer that and help that, you're gonna make
exactly.
such a big you're gonna make such a big change, because if you can make that person feel a huge change, they're gonna go on and be
Yeah.
such a more productive person in society. Like
Well,
what you're what
I
you're
think
gonna
the
do
other
is just
thing that,
change so much. Just and
yeah,
I encourage you to do that so much.
yeah. I think the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is that so grief, let me back up just a second.
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
whenever you go to therapy, whenever you see a therapist, anything like that, they're going to see you and they're going to diagnose you with whatever it is that you have gone to them to figure out. And there's a manual. It's called the DSM, and they pick whatever it is the diagnosis is from that, and that's what they write down on the form that they give to insurance, because it's a medical service. You got to go through insurance, all that kind of thing. And there is no diagnosis for grief. It does not exist. So, what you're doing when you go to therapy for grief, when you go to see a therapist, you are either going to have to pay for the entire thing out of pocket and not have any help from insurance, which a great majority of people cannot afford, let alone people in low income communities, which are often the ones who need it the most. You're either going to have to do that. You're either going to be diagnosed with something like a depression, which may or may not be the actual case, but then that gets put in your file. That has implications for if you want to go into the military later, that has implications for all sorts of things. You'll most likely be put on medications later in life that you may or may not actually need. It's a slippery slope. Or you're going to get diagnosed with, and this is what happens most often, a situational adjustment disorder, but then you only get 6 sessions. And if you have a family member who has been killed from gun violence, I don't think anyone is going to particularly get through that in 6 sessions.
There is no
So
way. No way.
there's just
It takes a
a lot
lifetime.
of
Sometimes it takes a
things.
lifetime. So like that.
Exactly. There's just a lot of things to go around. And so that's another reason why I think organizations like Supporting Kids and organizations like the one that I hope to eventually start is doing it in a way that is affordable for the people who need it the most. Supporting Kids is an organization that's it's a pay what you can organization. So if you can pay a normal amount for therapy, that's fantastic. But if you can only pay $5, that's also totally acceptable. And that's what allows so many families that need this care that may or may not be able to afford it to get the care that they need. And that's what I hope to continue to do in the organization that I want to eventually start.
Well, I can only pray that you get a big enough platform and opportunity
Mhm.
this year to really get people to notice that this could really make a huge change in your community and also in the entire country, because this is something that's not that you could easily um, um, transform in every community. So, I mean,
Mhm.
I really hope that this is just a small start in your state, but hopefully, this is something that could really grow everywhere.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I think it would be
I
very beneficial.
I would absolutely agree with it. I think it would be extremely beneficial to have every single person that needs the service be able to be able to work with you. So we are absolutely rooting for you.
Well, thank you.
So now that we're done with the really heavy, serious stuff, um,
That's fine. That's one of the biggest things that I want to do with my platform as Miss Delaware is I like to call it awkward talks. Is take these conversations that are usually really deep, really heavy, and honestly pretty uncomfortable for a lot of people to talk about, and make it a lot more commonplace. Because if I can take my struggles, my, you know, history and my background and my experiences with my, you know, depression and all that kind of stuff that I went through, and I can talk about it with as many people as I can and make it commonplace, then if I have done nothing else this year, I've done that, and that's going to be a success for me.
You volunteered for that, to say that. So you personally struggle with depression yourself? Is that
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it is? So that
My depression stemmed from originally chronic pain, which happens a lot with people who have chronic pain. It's honestly, I think if I'm remembering correctly, one of the most common things that come out of chronic pain is depression. But
gotcha.
so that's where mine originally stemmed from. Um,
And are you
but
still challenged with? So do you have like massive headaches all the time, or just like achy pains, or like what?
Yeah, so when from the time I was, I think like 10 years old on, and it was a lot worse when I was younger. Um, every single time that I would eat anything at all, I would have severe stomach pain for anywhere from like 30 minutes up to 4 hours. So if I would eat, I would be down for the count for a while. And it's gotten better as I've gotten older. I've been able to change certain things in my life to deal with it a little bit better, but I still have some instances every once in a while where I am just, I have to lay down for a while because I'm just in so much pain. Um, it's undiagnosed, but we've been able to figure out enough about it that I can, you know, live my life normally now as opposed to when I was younger. Um,
So is that kind of, is it like a food processing thing that your body's not processing
yeah,
foods
we're
the way that it should? Because it sounds
we're
like you're
not
saying that.
entirely sure. We think that it might be some weird variation of a Crohn's disease.
Okay.
Um, but you know, that's all up in the air.
No, but like but you also don't want to be. I mean, people always talk, especially like cooks. They talk about how you know food is this incredible you know eh, thing to experience, and we spend all this time, and then if you literally are caused to be in pain by eating, then that that joy is taken out of it. So
Yeah.
like that's like taking away. I'm trying to think of. I love baseball, so if every time I watch baseball, someone would hit me in the head with a bat, I wouldn't enjoy baseball anymore. So like, and that's the only way I am. Is that a good way of like kind of explaining how it feels, or is it worse?
Um, I mean, I don't really know. It's been most of my life,
Wow,
so I mean, it's my normal now, so I don't
it's your
really
normal.
feel like I'm missing out on anything, I guess. But I guess maybe it's also been so long that I don't really know what I'm missing out on, maybe. I
No,
don't know. We've tried our best to make the best of the situation, and we've, you know, found ways to make it manageable. Obviously, I'm able to do all the things that I guess I'll say a normal person, whatever
oh darling, you're
verbiage you want
normal.
to use,
I mean, you
could do. I don't have to worry about um, staying at home all of the time. I've been able to figure out what's going on well enough to be able to change my life in ways that allow me to still do all the things that I want to do.
well
But
the
yeah,
best way I would say is that you haven't allowed your condition to make you not able to survive and excel in what you want to do in life. You've still been able to go out and get a degree and be successful and win a state title. So, I mean, you've not. Some people would
yeah.
sit, literally, some people would just sit at home and allow that to ruin their entire life. You've made that. So, I mean, that's definitely something I would.
Well,
I
and
mean, that
it sounds
I'm
very nice and very great when you say it, but you also have to remember that that's where my whole depression stemmed from, and the fact that it's
right.
one of these like hidden diseases with when it comes to stomach pain or endometriosis or whatever it is that someone may have, that it's a hidden disease. So a lot of times people will question whether it really hurts as bad as you say it does, or if it's actually there and things like that. And so that's what honestly all stemmed my depression in the first place. But I'm one of the individuals in the world right now that is incredibly lucky, where I had already been working a lot with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So I was very knowledgeable of the resources that were available to me in terms of battling depression. I had an incredibly support system of family and friends. And so I was one of the lucky ones who has been able to get through it and move past it. And I like to say that I'm on the other side of it now. But a lot of people aren't as lucky, and it's a lot even harder of a road for them. And I know the road that I went down, so I can't even imagine what it must be like for individuals who did not have the support and resources that I did. It's a lot of why I want to dedicate my platform and everything to this issue.
But you said specifically that this is not something that you just get over. You're going to deal with this your entire life. You've been able, but
Yeah,
you're being able
well,
to
and it's one of
you're
those
able to
things that,
manage it better and be able.
yeah, it's one of those things that it's like depression is like, it's like a heart attack. You
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
you have, even though you are on the other side of it, even though you survived it, there are all these steps that you still take because you don't want it to happen again. Because even though you're on the other side, you always know that once you've had it once, you're at risk of another one, of in the sense of a heart attack, having another heart attack, in the sense of depression, falling back into that place. And so there's different things that you do, that you change in your life to try and prevent that from happening. So yes, I like to say, I like to feel, I believe that I'm on the other side, that I'm not currently depressed, but there is that sense that you'll never be totally out of the woods, because there are things in your life that you're always going to be extra conscientious of, so that you don't fall back.
Well, we are totally rooting for you. So don't feel that
Well, thank you.
yeah, no, seriously, we are absolutely rooting for you. So don't feel that you're ever alone. And you're now part of a huge family
Oh,
of sisters
absolutely.
with your Delaware group, but don't feel that there's plenty of photographers, uh, pageant coaches, people that
Yeah.
are not on stage that are rooting for you too. So um,
Yeah, well, and I think, I mean, even before, I never realized the family, and I say family totally and completely honestly, because that's what it is. When I joined the Miss America organization, I didn't realize that that's what I was joining, that that's what I was getting into. And I say Miss America organization, not specifically the Miss Delaware Scholarship organization, although that has been in a huge part of it. Is that I have connected and formed strong relationships not only with the other girls that I competed alongside in the Miss Delaware Scholarship Organization, but also individuals in New Jersey and Pennsylvania who have reached out to me, who have gone through similar experiences, not only to show me their support, but also to share their stories. And I've made great connections, especially with, there's a few girls in Pennsylvania who are incredibly passionate about mental health as well, that I've been able to connect with and become friends with through this organization. And it's done so much more for me than I ever even expected it to.
um, I'm really looking forward to this September and seeing you on stage because with this brief conversation we had, I can really tell that whoever comes to wherever they're going to do the pageant, because they haven't announced where the location is. All we know is it's going to be on NBC, but I think they're going to have a hard. You're going to have the other girls going to have a hard competition against you because with the way, no, sincerely, like the new format is definitely more catered
Hmm.
to you because um you get to talk so much.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for you. I hope you're excited for the new
Well,
format
I'm
because
incredibly excited, not only because holy cow, I get to go to Miss America, right? You got to get over
oh yeah,
that
absolutely.
first of excitement. But also, we have a group chat of all the state title holders in the 2020 class so far. And I'm telling you, I mean, I might be biased because I'm in the class, but it's going to be an incredible Miss America experience. The judges are going to have an incredibly difficult time, I think, because every single girl that I've gotten to know through this experience, all the state title holders are so fantastic, so talented, so passionate, so eloquent, and I'm truly blessed to be part of this group.
I guess I always say, it it always is a beauty contest, but I really think this year it's not really a beauty contest. It really is like a who's the most eloquent speaker, because even with our pageant in Maryland, the girl who won really was the one who was the most elegant speaker and was able to really um, explain herself and really say why. So this
Well, and that's
competition,
one of the things that I love so much about the 2.0 changes, the Miss America 2.0 changes, is that it puts a lot more emphasis on public speaking and on your passions and your ability to articulate in an eloquent way your ideas and your opinions and arguments and things like that, as well as talent, which I think is also important. Specifically, when you look at a lot of the things that Miss America does throughout the year, it's important to have a good stage presence, which is what they look at during talent. But yeah, I love the changes. I know it's been very up in the air for the past year that it's been new, but I'm definitely one of the big advocates for it.
I
I
think
mean,
that
granted, I did join this year, so I'm a little partial to that too, but very positive.
no, and I don't want to speak for you or organization or anything, but I think that people in general are just scared of change, and until you have
Mhm.
the opportunity to witness it, then you're not happy with it. So, but
Oh,
after
absolutely,
seeing
especially when something's been going strong for nearly 100 years,
exactly,
and
exactly,
and then we make changes to it, good changes, in my opinion, but changes nonetheless. Because you're right, we as humans in general um,
we just
tend
get
to
freaked
shy
out.
away from change. We're
We
creatures of habit.
yes, we get scared. We're scared. We're I always think of emotion as a little gopher. We pop out, we look around, and then if we don't like it, we just go back in our hole. you know, like, oh, it's not safe. I go back in my hole. You
Yeah.
know, so um, well, we're really rooting for you. I would love to give you an opportunity right now. Whatever you want to promote. Do you have um, any big events that you'd want the public to know about? Have you set up any fundraising that's going on, or and of course, if you have your date for your send off party yet, we please, if it's an open event, we'd love
Mhm.
for you to publicize it.
Yeah, we don't have a date for send off because we're not entirely sure when the pageant's going to be yet. So
True,
I'm
true,
sure
true.
once they announce that, we'll have it pretty soon. As with everybody in the organization, we're all so passionate about raising money for the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. I'm personally am very connected to that. I've had many friends who were Children's Miracle Network kids, and so that's been a huge honor being able to work so closely with Children's Miracle Network as a Miss America title holder. So any donations to CMN in general, but obviously also to my personal page is greatly appreciated. Um, but yeah, no, I've just really enjoyed my time so far. I just began everything about a week ago, so we're still getting into the swing of things and getting everything planned. But yeah, it's been a fun time.
Well, I will really encourage everyone, please, to go to the state pageant. Miss Dello, is it Ms. DA, or what's the website?
Yeah, so it's www.missde.org.
D.org. And
Yep.
please donate to the Children's Miracle Network. You guys don't understand how much being sick as a young child and how
Mhm.
much support they really do give to the children. So please help them, help the children. And I have you. I hope they please talk to your director and ask her about bingo days, because you get to play bingo. Depending on how they have it set up on
Yeah.
like a TV screen, and like all the kids get to stay in their room and you get to play bingo.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
hopefully you get to do that. So
Yeah, I know I'm so lucky I get to go visit our local Children's Miracle Network hospital, which the closest one to us is the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So I do get to visit them next month. I'm really excited about it. So we'll see what that day holds, but I'm really excited to meet all the kids there.
uh, um, bring extra tissues. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, it's just one of those days where I I like to volunteer to help kids because if you have to start off your life off on the wrong foot, then how are you expected to have the rest of your life go right? So if you have to start off your life with cancer, I mean, I couldn't imagine that. So, um, you know, anything we can do to help kids that have to deal with that, I mean, and it's such a godsend that you're willing to go out and really help kids like that. I mean, it's the one really amazing thing that Miss America organization really does, and I truly
Mhm.
appreciate you guys going out and doing that because I know it can be extremely personal and like you already do therapy, so you have to take in all of those. I mean, as a therapist, does how does that like affect you? Because I have friends that are therapists, and you have to listen to that. Does that ever drain you? Like, are you concerned that this year is going to be mentally hard for you, not like emotionally?
Well, one thing that I think is beneficial about being a grief counseling group therapy facilitator is that it's really a positive experience. I mean, I know I said that, touched on that very briefly earlier, but a lot of what we do is an understanding and what we like to say, especially to the very little kids, is we talk about, our feelings a lot and how we like to say that feelings aren't good or bad, they just are, because we don't want them to feel like they're supposed to feel a certain way or that it's bad for them to feel sad, because obviously it's not if they just lost a family member. But a lot of what we do is just expression through music and art, and it really is a positive experience. And yes, it's hard to see these kids having lost someone incredibly special to them, but the strength that they show and their resilience, it's so powerful, it's so inspiring that it really it lifts me up more than it brings me down. I know that might sound weird saying, oh yes, I'm a grief facilitator and I leave happy, but it's true. The strength and resilience that these kids show, it's really inspiring, and it makes me feel very positive and hopeful for the future.
I just wanted to take one extra second and talk about our sponsor of the week, Mid Atlantic Video and Photography Production. No matter if you're planning a wedding and you need a wedding videographer, you're doing a music video, or you're doing a commercial, they are the team to get the job done. You can reach out to them at 443 422 3830. Again, that's 443 422 3830. Or you can go right to their website at mavpp.com. Now let's get right back to this great interview. It just shows that you are sent from God, and you like some people wouldn't be able to do that, but if you're honestly being motivated and you come out of it even happier, clearly you're in the right you're doing the right thing that you should be doing. I can't, I don't know, am I on the right path there? Am I, cuz like
Yeah,
yeah,
I
cuz like
definitely can see how it's not for everyone. And it took me a long time, a very, very long time to find to find this thing that I was truly passionate about, this thing that I woke up every day and I wanted to go do. It took a long time. And I think that's one thing that is hard for a lot of, especially young people, is they think that they have to know now. But it does. It's a process to find what you're truly passionate about. But yeah, it's not for everybody. But I was lucky enough that I found my place. I found where I'm supposed to be. And I'm really excited about it.
I'm so thankful to have you on board. I wish you only the best. Please, after you win Miss America, please, would you will please come on our show? I know that our show is just a small thing, and you're going on to bigger and better things. But I hope our first or your first interview was a good interview, and I hope
Absolutely.
so. And I
Thank you so
really
much for
no
having
no
me.
no
It's been a great, great time,
no,
really.
and it was such a apps pleasure really getting to know you. That's why I love to do these in-depth, long conversations and let you tell your story. And I hope everyone really that's listening really understands how incredible and why she won Miss Delaware and why she is Miss Delaware. So we appreciate you coming on the show so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Hillary, for coming on the show and letting us interview you. And so congratulations on your new title. We are so happy for you, and we are rooting for you so much. There's truly a reason why you won the title, and it's because you're such an elegant speaker, and we're so proud of you. And if you listening to this show can understand just a little bit of why and listening to how elegant she spoke, I hope that this was just a beneficial listen to every single person who's listening to our shows. Remember, our shows drop every Thursday afternoon, so make sure you stay tuned. We're on iTunes and on YouTube. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Please be a part of the team. Subscribe to the show. We'll see you back next Thursday.